This week we're going to take a final look at 2021 soybean harvest here in the U.S., including short-term weather trends. Then we're going to shift gears and focus on weather trends in Brazil, where the soybean crop is in full bloom. And we're going to wrap things up this week taking a look at export trends for U.S. soybeans. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We've moved into the final few days in November here, and we've still got a bit of the soybean harvest going on in the U.S. So we're going to start out taking a look at our nationwide progress map. Now again, we don't want to discard that there is still about 5% of the soybean harvest yet to be completed here in the U.S. As we've highlighted throughout the fall, notice that most of that's east of the Mississippi River remaining to be harvested. So we'll look at those states in a moment when we focus on the short-term weather trends, but just to highlight a few, Michigan at 87%, versus 89% average, and Ohio at 90% versus 95% average. Let's take a look at those short-term weather trends for beans. This week we're going to use our slide from National Weather Service. We're looking at the next week here, November 23rd to the 29th. Now there's some light rain moving in here on the eastern Corn Belt, primarily Wednesday and Thursday of this week, but hopefully it won't be heavy totals, but there is some moisture moving into those areas that are still harvesting beans. So hopefully, again, that those totals won't be heavy and we can wrap up the 2021 harvest in short order. With the U.S. soybean harvest winding down, we're going to shift our focus to South America, specifically looking at Brazil, where planting is in rapid pace here at the moment, and some of those beans are really blooming at the moment, particularly in the northern areas. Let's take a look at where those beans are grown in Brazil. And we're looking at the primary state in Brazil, the leading state of soybean production in Brazil is Mato Grosso. 27% of the beans. We'll see in a minute that Mato Grosso is off to a fine start for 2021. Looking at some of the other states there, moving north to south, we're looking at some larger states in the south, particularly Paraná and Rio Grande do Sul. Let's take a look at the short-term weather trends now for Brazil. Our slides from Brazil this week are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. We're zeroing in here first on northern Brazil because, as I mentioned, Mato Grosso is the #1 producing state in Brazil. Now, last year, Mato Grosso was quite dry. Look at this year, however. Mato Grosso is quite wet. So those crops in Brazil were planted on time this year, and we could see some very early harvest in Brazil as early as the end of the month here in December, or more likely early January, but it will be earlier than last year, weather permitting. Now, as we move north to south, you can see that things dry out a bit. This 30-day map is a proxy for subsoil moisture. Those southern states, Rio Grande do Sul in particular, is dry. So we'll be keeping an eye on that moving forward. Now let's look at the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks will take us into early December, of course. Most of those areas across the entire soybean region are looking at normal precip. That includes the south. So we'll keep an eye on that for you moving forward. Let's shift gears now and look at trends in U.S. soybean exports. Now we're looking at unshipped sales of beans here. Actually, the second highest level of the last 5 years, but they do pale in comparison to last year, with unshipped book to China down 40%. Of course, that's a direct reflection of that record crop that was harvested earlier this year in Brazil. Now, the unshipped sales to other areas, even omitting China, are notably weaker compared to last year, and compared to 3 years ago, actually notably weaker too. Again, more competition from Brazil primarily. Now we're going to look at other areas, including other Asia, Japan, and Taiwan. Now that's even weaker yet. You have to go back 6 years to 2015-16. So we really want to continue to remind you that we're looking at competition in the world market. Let's wrap things up this week looking at trends in November soybean futures. Now, of course, the November soybean contract expired earlier this month. But we highlighted there on the far left side of the screen, November of 2022 soybean futures, near $12.50 a bushel. Now that's the highest price for the prior November futures, November contract since 2012. So strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'd be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.